Okay. Hi, everyone. Um, I was gonna post a video that I actually recorded on my cell phone, and I didn't do it because I just didn't. I thought it was silly. Pardon the barbecue sauce thing. Classy. Anyway, but House of in Houston posted a paranormal. I say that because you never know. It could be something completely explainable. So, um, so I figured I'd go ahead and redo the video that I did because I did it outside and it was kind of dark and it was raining. So, anyway, the thing that happened to me. Well, it happened to me the other night, and this is something that's happened to me several times. And what I mean by that is, I've had paranormal experiences follow me a lot. So, we'll start off with what happened the other night, and then I'll go backwards and tell you about stuff that's happened to me over the years. So, the other night, my mom sent me over to our storage unit that we have, and I've always felt there was something in there. And I know ghosts and spirits can attach themselves to objects, so I wouldn't ignore the mess behind us. We're in the process of possibly moving, so junk. uh, well, there was in the storage unit. Ours is okay. You drive into it, and we have two storage units. We have the one that's on one side, and there's another on the other side that has those two doors. So I went to the other side of the double door one because it was just easier to get what I needed in there. So I'm in there, and I felt the creepy feeling that I get in there occasionally coming from, okay, you walk in this way, and there's a wall going this way, and there's a hall going this way, and the one to the left of me is where I always feel the creepy feeling coming from. Well, when I was leaving, this was dark, this was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, don't ask. Um, so as I was leaving, I was walking out, and I was turning the lights off. Um, there was this. It got darker in there because the exit sign normally lights up the whole thing red because it's right there above our storage unit. And I was like, okay, so that's weird because it's not the whole area isn't red. So, well, right outside the door, because ours is literally you walk in the door and it's like right there like 5 feet, so it's great for moving stuff. But there's these four like concrete pillars, and they come up about they're about 2 or 3 feet tall. Um, and I got in the truck, and I'm parked 5 or 6 feet in front of them, and there's lights outside of every door because this is a thing where if you have a building in there, you can come whenever you want, and it's a gated thing. You have to have a passcode to get in. Everybody's passcode is different. So I get in the truck, and because I'm a horror movie freak, I always check the back seat anytime I go somewhere and it's dark. um, and I check the back seat. I still get that kind of creepy feeling. I get in the truck, and I start it up. I light my cigarette up, and in the rearview mirror, I see a shadow. Like, okay, let's see if I do this right. Here's a pillar, like way behind the truck. I see a human shape come out of the pillar, like like the truck would be like right in front of this. And it comes out of the pillar, stands there for a second, and as I start to drive away, it disappears. Now I stopped because I wasn't sure if I'd really seen that or not, because it's dark, there's very little light. It might just be light playing tricks. So I stopped and I backed up to where I was before, and I pulled forward. Didn't do it again. I did it 2 or 3 times just to be on the safe side, and nothing. So I'm pretty sure that was something paranormal. But now we're going to go backwards from the time I was a kid up till now. Now, the first paranormal experience that I ever remember having was, let me think. Um, I was trying to remember which. I think I did it out of order on my phone, but if I remember correctly, the first one I had was there was my aunt used to own these two houses that were back to back, so they didn't have a gate between the two houses, and a friend of our family lived there in the smaller house, and he would let the kids come play in it occasionally. We weren't supposed to, the family would get on us, but he didn't mind if we came in and out. And we didn't. Every once in a while we'd pop our head in there and say hi and stuff. That's it. And all the kids, the grandkids, me and my me and four of my cousins, um, decided to go in there, and I'm the youngest, so I'm like 5, maybe 6. Um, and they take me in there, and we're looking around the house, and he wasn't home. I think he was actually at my aunt's house, so he left the door unlocked. We were in there, and I noticed it first, but it was a very tiny, tiny house. I mean, I even stayed there for a little while. Um, Literally, you could see the bedrooms from the living room. It's that kind of tiny. And the far bedroom, when I say the far bedroom, it was the furthest one away, because you couldn't actually see the master bedroom because it was like right around the corner. Um, but that bedroom was the bedroom he used for his master bedroom. So I saw the sheet rise up on his bed like somebody was in it, and then drop back down. Well, I started freaking out, and my cousin Amy, who was the second youngest, apparently saw it too, and she started freaking out, so we bolted. Alright, that's the first thing I remember. The next one was actually, it started off happening to my cousin Sonia, and she had found a Ouija board in her attic. Do not mess with Ouija boards. I cannot stress that enough. Never mess with them. Well, she started messing with it, and she started talking to this ghost named William. Now, I don't know all the story with her. I remember bits and pieces of it, and she could tell me to this day. I know that whenever he would appear or be near her, she'd smell sulfur or like a lit match. And I didn't really believe her because I was a kid, and she's my oldest. She is my oldest cousin. So I figured she was just trying to scare me. Well, she was babysitting me one day, and I still told her I didn't believe her. So she took me in her room, she took the Ouija board out, and she made me play the Ouija board with her. And she asked William if he was there, and it sat there for a second, the little pointer thingy, and it didn't move. And then she asked again, she goes, William, are you there? And it pointed to yes. And then, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it scared me, because I knew Sonia wasn't moving it, because I could see her fingers were above the thing, and I wasn't touching it. I had my hand above it because I was kind of freaked out by it. So I had my hand above it, and I started crying and freaking out because I was, once again, it was either before the neighbor house thing or after. Not 100% positive. So I was 5 or 6. So I freaked out, and Sonia I threw the Ouija board into the corner of the room. She took the little pointer thing and poked the plastic eye out of it and threw it on the bed. And we ran to the kitchen and called my grandma to come get us. So my grandma comes to get us, and she asked us where the Ouija board was. And we went into Sonia's bedroom, and the board was laying on her bed with the pointer sitting on top of it with the plastic piece in it. Now, this whole time, my cousin Sonia hadn't left me because I was crying. I was hysterical. So that was the next thing. Um, there were other little bits and bobs between then. I'd see something when I went somewhere, or I'd hear a noise, or I'd feel a presence. Uh, Actually, before um, I go into the Georgia story, I'll tell you a quick little one that happened while we were still living in South Carolina. My mom and dad had separated for a little while, and my mom was living in one town, and my dad was living in another. And then they got back together shortly before we moved to Georgia. And um, there was this house near where my dad lived that was a hospital during the Civil War. And we went to look at it one time when my mom was thinking about, getting back with my dad. We're going to move in together. And they were looking at this house. And my mom got a creepy feeling, and I got a weird feeling from it. And I heard the ladies tell my parents, because I told them I got a weird feeling. And I said, Mom, I got a weird feeling. And the ladies that lived there, they said that they had to screen in, they had a balcony upstairs. They had to screen it in because something actually tried to push one of them off it. So, and my mom had a weird experience there too, but I don't remember, I can't explain it like she could. So, there was that. Now, we went back a while later, and we were with, it was my grandparents, and I think one of my aunts and one of my cousins, at least one of my cousins, I'm not sure. It might be my cousin Angie. But, um, we were there, and we were walking around the house, and I went to get back in the car. And it was my grandparents' car. They were visiting us. And we were there, and all of a sudden, I look up at the upper right-hand front window, it's bedroom window, and I see a face in the glass. There's nobody living in this house. Nobody would live there for more than a couple months. And I see a face in the glass. And it was I was maybe 11 or 12 at the time, maybe 13, somewhere in that area. And it scared me so bad that I started screaming for my mom and my dad and my grandparents to get in the car because I wanted to go. I wanted to go right then and there. I wanted to leave. So we left. That was the end of that one. Now moving on to the Georgia story. And this is the big one. There's one more after that, and then but this is the big one. Well, you know what? I'll tell you about when we moved back to South Carolina before I tell you about Georgia. So this happened after Georgia. We moved into this house in South Carolina. It was a nice house, I loved that house. I had, you know, it was the house I lived in the longest, next to this house that we're in now. So it was the house I felt more home in, I guess. Um, and all my friends, that was my high school house. So that's where I had my friends come over and we partied and had fun and played pool and played video games. So it was a good time. So nothing really bad happened there. We had some really weird pictures. I have a picture of me that I took. I put when we first got our digital cameras. Cheap knockoff pieces of crap digital cameras. That was when they were really first coming out, and I took a picture of me in front of the Christmas tree that we had up one year. And behind me in the tree, I mean, this is my face is like right in the camera, so you can just see a little bit of the tree right here. But you could make out like a very demonic looking face in the tree. And I took a picture of my mom in the kitchen, and she had put like a glass backsplash up behind the stove. And in it, you could see three people. You could see a little girl, an older woman, and an old man. In like one of those old preacher hats that are really flat. I think they're called like a pillbox hat kind of shape thing with a brim around it. And I'm not really sure what those are called. Another way I guess to describe them is the Amish hats, the little flat ones. Uh, but I always heard the house was built in the 70s, and uh, it had a sunken den in it, which is like right in the middle of the house, and all the bedrooms were around it. So there's like about 3 foot wide walkway around the sunken den, and I would hear a little girl giggling and running around this thing all night long. Uh, and one time I was out when I moved out to the game room at a certain point, and my mom, because the game room and the outside like living room was originally a garage, and they converted it into that because there was a man who lived there that was a preacher, and she tried to get out to me because she needed to tell me something, I think. And there was a door, because it was originally the back door, that led into the laundry room. And she goes to open the door, and she can't. It just won't open. And I get up, I hear her pulling the door, and it was locked. There was a little, just a little latch lock, but it was locked. Uh, there was other things that happened. I saw stuff, I heard stuff, but nothing, too scary, really. At least not to me. I didn't like the man. I felt him once or twice, and he just was just mean feeling. Not threatening, but just mean. So, uh, that's really it with that one. There was other things I felt in that town because it's really old town. So it's called Hampton, by the way. Um, but moving back to Georgia. Okay, so we moved into this house, and I thought the house was kind of strange shaped at first because it was kind of a split level kind of deal. It was a well, technically it was a three-story house because you walked in. It had a hilly front yard. You walked into the front door, and there was a living room and a kitchen. And then you would go downstairs to, I guess it was once the garage, and now it's like a separate living room, and it had like a garage that was maybe like 6, 7 foot deep. That's it. And it was just storage for us. And it was also next to the laundry room. And then we had, if from the living room, you could go upstairs to the bedrooms. Um, so the first part of the story I'll tell you about is my dog Snowball, who actually died on the morning of September 11th. I miss my Snowball. My dad was letting him out the back door, and we lived in an area called Swan Lake, and it was a man-made lake in Stockbridge, Georgia, that had a beach on it and everything. It was a nice little town. No, not a town. It was almost like a planned community, but didn't have the very structured, very same-looking houses. Uh, but my dad let him out. I was trying to get back to the point. My dad let him out, and we had a screened-in back porch, and he let him back in. And my dad said right when the screen door shut was because right when the screen door shut, he heard a growl, not like a dog growl, not like a wolf growl, but just this weird growl from outside. So he told my mom not to let me go swimming at the lake that day. So we asked around, and our neighbors across the street had told us about this thing. They had um, they had almost about an acre yard, and they used to keep rabbits and chickens. Well, there was something that was killing their rabbits and chickens. It was literally like ripping through their cages to get to them. So they called animal control. Animal control came out and set up a cage, and they caught it. And the way they described it was this kind of wolf, dog, bear hybrid with red eyes. So they left it there, and they had two kids. The boy was my age, the girl was younger. And at the time, he was, I think when this happened, he was about 10 or 11, so the little girl was like 1 or 2. Uh, and they said this thing kept trying to get out the cage, and cat. See his paw moving right there. um, he's sleeping. Uh, but they kept calling animal control saying, come get this thing, come get this thing, come get this thing. And they would never come get it. And they kept telling them, look, it's going to get out of the cage. And they're like, it can't, just relax, it's fine, we'll come get it when we can. Because, this is Georgia and it's semi-rural, so, there was a lot of other animal calls they had to go on, so, they got to come get it when they can. Well, about a day or two after they called them back. Because it got out the cage. Sorry about that. It got out the cage. Okay, second thing about this house was the house next door to us. The people moved out shortly after we moved in, and between our house, it was dark because there was trees, but their basement window looked onto the bottom half of our house. And I was just starting to cut the grass for my parents, so uh, I would cut the grass, and I would run through there because not only was it freezing cold between the two houses, it was just really creepy feeling. And a couple of things happened. I would hear a noise here and there. My closet door would creak open, and I just thought, it's a house. Houses do weird things occasionally. And then I started hearing voices. People talking. And I just thought, okay, so there might be something in the house. Whatever. It's not scaring me. It's not doing anything bad. I'll leave it alone. Now, my mom had her own experiences in the house, too. Once again, she could explain better than I could. But the first thing that happened to me in the house that scared me. Oh, there's Sammy. There's Sammy, I should say. The first thing that happened in the house was we had one of those rowing kind of exercise machines, and I was laying on it because I just actually finished doing it. I was laying on it watching TV. I was laying on my side, and I saw this little child's hand reach out and touch my leg, and I felt it. And it was like a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old kind of sized hand, maybe a little bit younger. I'm not 100% positive. My cats there, Coco. Anyway, um, so that was the first thing, and I was like, okay, so there definitely is something in this house. And once I saw a young girl. She was probably about 16, I think. I'm not. I only saw her the once, so I don't really know. But they the previous owners had actually lost their little girl. She was 2 or 3, I don't remember, and they never found her. They just lost her completely. She was in the house, and she's just gone. So they don't know. So that's what I think what touched me was their little girl. Um, but then I was walking down the stairs to the bottom floor on carpeted stairs in socks, and my feet got yanked out from underneath me, and I fell down the stairs. It's fine. No, not that way. Just bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Yeah, I like that better actually. um, so the next thing that happened was there were things that happened at Christmas time. I don't really remember them because it didn't really happen to me directly. Anyway, I mean there was Christmas pictures where there's like smoke around me and my mom. The next thing that happened was I came home from school one day and I said, "Mom, did you burn something?" And she said no. And all this time something had been bothering me in my room. It had been making noises outside my bedroom door. It had been yelling uh, when I was asleep. It woke me up several times, and I would just tell it to go away and I go to sleep. So I go upstairs and I still smell this burning smell. I'm like, "Mom, what's going on?" She's like, "I don't know. I didn't cook anything yet. I haven't cooked anything yet, so I didn't burn anything." So up the stairs, and right to the right at the top of the stairs is the bathroom. Straight forward was my parents' room. Straight to the left was my room. To the left of that, straight forward was the guest bedroom that we used for storage, and the closet. The guest bedroom also went up to the attic. So I smelled the smell coming from my room, the guest bedroom area. So I went and looked in my room first. Make sure, like when my CD player or something hadn't caught fire. I don't know. I was 16. Uh, I looked and nothing. So I checked the guest bedroom. In the guest bedroom, one of those big spotlight lamps was plugged in. Don't make it turn it on. Was plugged in and turned upside down on the carpet. It had burned a hole through the carpet. It had burned a hole through the padding and was working on the wood. If I hadn't have found it, it would have caught the house on fire. Now, the last part is the part I still get kind of freaked out talking about. I was sleeping one night. Oh, before I go into this, the movers had broke my antique four-poster bed, so I was sleeping on a mattress and box spring on the floor. Teenager at the time, didn't care. Uh, I liked that bed, but I was a teenager. It was cool to sleep on the floor. Uh, well, plus I always had this deadly fear of things under my bed, and I actually still kind of do. But now it's just cats. Sorry. Um. So anyway, I was sleeping one night and I heard the ghost man, talking and getting getting angry. And I heard him down in the kitchen. And I heard the doors rattling. I'm like, oh, he's just being stupid. So I was trying to ignore him and go to sleep. Well, it kept getting louder and it started freaking me out. So I pulled my mattress in my parents' room, which was a common occurrence by this point. And I started to fall asleep. And I started hearing noises in the kitchen again. So I go. I don't go anywhere. My dog Snowball's on my parents' bed, which is above me, and he's over on my dad's side. And I'm just trying to ignore him and go to sleep. Well, I hear this voice say, I'm going to effing kill him. And I hear and feel it run up the stairs. Because when someone runs up the stairs, you can kind of feel it. I feel it run up the stairs. And I feel it jump on top of me. And I feel the heat of its breath as it growls in my ear. Needless to say, I shot up screaming. And I was crying, I was hysterical. And my parents had to give me Valium to get me to go to sleep. And put me in the bed with them. Teenager, asleep, his parents' bed, his parents, the Valium. That's nice. So I've just had a bunch of weird experiences my whole life. Um, I occasionally see stuff just walking down the street. It's from what I've been told, um, an empath, I think, because I can sense spirits. I know when they're there. Um, I know I can see them occasionally. Uh, like one of the things I see is these little balls of light, not like what you see on TV with the little orbs, which I think are bullshit. Excuse me. But they're like these balls of lights that just kind of appear and then streak across and they're gone. I don't know what they are. Um, it doesn't happen all the time. It's just every once in a while it just happens. So, excuse me, my leg fits in. Um, so yeah, so I hope maybe some of my experiences validate other people's. I hope this might help House of Houston, which you could have a ghost in your house, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. If it's an old man that died there, he might not know he's dead. So just look it up to see if you can get help, maybe, if you think that's what it is. Don't mess with Ouija boards. Don't try to. You can try to communicate with it, but do it in a safe way. Even try to record it if you can, even just using your cell phone. Um, but don't try to egg it on because it will get angry. Because I've actually experienced that with friends. So, like I said, I hope this all helps, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.